Round 2, Donnington Park. And if the riders thought the weather were bad at Brands, Donnington was biblical. And when it's this wet, there's always going to be a high attrition rate. Lots of people crashed, and you just never know who's going to win.
Clicking it into gear then, they're about to come under orders. Will Gregorio Olivia, not a great starter, of course, on the Ducati. Will he make the start this time? That's not a bad start, but Haslam comes across, as would be expected, and so does the Snowbound Honda of Michael Rutter, but into Redgate for the first time. It's Rutter with sweeping round the outside, the Airways Ducati of Leon Haslam. Now, who's going to get tagged into turn one? Oh, yeah, as always. Oh, that's not good. I think it's... Well, that is a typical situation in Redgate, I'm afraid. Alongside me, oh, there's so many riders down. Alongside me here is James Toseland, and I'm sure that's something that we don't want to see, and we may see a red flag before this race has started, James.
Yeah, I think so. Someone just high-sided on the inside of the track there, and people were coming around the outside, and obviously when the rider high-sided, he went into everybody else, and there's about half a dozen riders there off.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a red flag here. I don't think that's going to be a pace car, safety car situation. Tony Carter is with me here as well. I was going to introduce him, but you might have heard him squeaking in the background. A bit of a shock to the system for the opening bend of the opening lap here at Donington.
Oh, that's not good. There's a virgin. That's
Billy McConnell, I think, there.
Down. It also looked like Kieran Clark was involved in that, so a rough day for the Red Bull boys.
Take a look at this. Who's it that high-sides in the middle? It was Kieran Clark, I think, that high-sided right in the middle of that lot, was it?
Yeah, it looks like Kieran. Tommy, actually. It looks like Tommy Hill, who was the first person
You're
down
absolutely right. You know why you made that mistake, don't you? Because it's got a white tank and seat this year as opposed to the red tank and seat of last year. So it was the Virgin Mobile bike, maybe. That is Billy McConnell that went in the middle of that, I think. There's another Virgin bike here. That's... Oh, dear me. Safety car out on the track then. So that'll give them a little bit of time to sort things out. We're on still lap 1 of the 18. And what an eventful first turn. Car's coming in this time. He's going to take a left in here now. They will come back, and of course it will be Haslam that's under control of the restart. So Haslam comes to the line now. He's got full power down the front straight, and look at this, Michael Rutter up the inside into Redgate. Oh yes, Dunlop shot Michael Rutter. He seems to have that little bit more confidence, but I'll tell you what, Dunlop shot Gregorio Olivia. Wasn't going to let him go, was he? That was brave.
Yeah, straight over his nose. I mean, obviously Rutter got the drive out of Goddard's there and nearly overtook him, but Gregorio was really good there with his cold tyres from the thing. It was really aggressive into Redgate.
Michael Laverty under a lot of pressure as well from Shaky Byrne. So Michael Laverty back in 4th place at the moment on bike 33. Teammate to Michael Rutter has got Shaky Byrne. Well, Shaky Byrne, I think people were questioning, if you read what people say on websites and the like, whether he could still ride a motorcycle. I think we might find out this weekend at the minute. Risa Suzuki, of course, miles and miles behind in testing compared with all the people that are in front of him at the moment. But Byrne is a racer. And Michael Laverty might just feel a bit of blue up the inside. Look at this here.
Gregorio around the outside of Coppice, nearly on the
front. Look at this. Oh, so beautiful, so neat, and so Olivia into the Melbourne loop. Gregorio Olivia, it's going to be bye-bye.
I don't think anybody's going to keep with him.
Exactly my point. Bye-bye, see you later. I'll have the 25 points, barring any major problems. Thank you. And already he's pulled, you know, in one tight, high, perfect corner, he's already pulled out a lead.
What's happened to Carl Harris? Oh, he's got a bad start. He's in about 6 or 7 because he was second on the grid, and I thought he was going to. He goes well round Donnington Park.
How long is Leon Haslam going to be able to take this kind of pressure? How long is it going to be? We know he's injured. He's still got quite an injury, Tony.
Yeah, he says he can move around on the bike fairly well, but as you can see there, I think on the brakes he just can keep that bike under control into the bottom of the loop, and the injuries are going to be playing on his mind. These are long old races around here, 18 laps around Donnington is a long old way. He's got 2 of them to do today, of course. But Leon mentally is very tough. Physically it's a different matter, but you know, if we get the rain for a bit later on as predicted for today, then all bets are off, because then you're not going to muscle the bike around so much, certainly around Donnington. But Leon, he doesn't seem to be able to have an answer for Gregorio at the moment.
Danny Beaumont has been off at Coppice. He's absolutely okay though, number 37, Danny Beaumont on the JJL Racing Honda. Meanwhile, Gregorio Olivia eases away from his teammate Leon Haslam. This is not what Leon wanted to see, let alone anybody else.
Oh, it's Kianari at the inside into Fogarty's. Beautiful move, very aggressive.
Now then, lots and lots of problems, I think, as far as tiny detail is concerned in the HM Plant Honda camp at the moment. Keo just not quite able to get the motorbike quite set how he wants to, as Shane Byrne looks for a T-bone on the Japanese rider, but doesn't get it. But I think that they just seem to be a little bit adrift of where they were sometime last year. And except in the braking area. You're lucky it was Michael Rutter you were playing. Oh, and off the feet, off the footrest there from Leon Haslam. Now, and Leon looking like he's struggling to stay in the seat.
Yeah, I think he's obviously just trying to keep up with his teammate Olivia. Olivia's cleared off into the distance and he's pushing hard, but Keogh's just passed 2 people there in 2 corners, so I think if he can make easier work with Haslam as well, I think he could maybe hopefully catch him.
Chianari last year, of course, was the man to beat. 12 race wins compared with the actual champions. Only 7 race wins for Gregorio Olivia last year. But of course, he was learning about most of the track. Fastest lap then, 1:32.018. Little way to go before we get to the lap record, but I think we are going to see it broken. There it is then, Goddard's, James. That was a nice move, but Rutter saw him coming and moved over a little bit.
Great aggressive move. He just put himself in the way of Rutter there, and Rutter just picked it up and let him through. It would have been a bit dangerous to close the door in there, but as I said, Keogh's right behind Haslam now, and I think he could look at him to fog his S's here.
He's the only one that looks like he's got the pace of Gregorio Olivia out front. It's a shame he mired himself with a pretty lousy start. Here he goes, that's it, classic stuff, down towards Fogarty's. Who would ever bet against Keogh backing it in under Leon Haslam? I'll tell you what, Leon's pretty spectacular going into there, but Keogh, dear me, looks like he's in one of those super motard races.
Well, we just heard that rider number 8, Tommy Hill, has fallen. Apparently he's okay, but if it was Tommy who was involved in that first lap clash, Keith, that was the second time he's been down in, what, 6-7 laps?
So, Tommy Hill, the Pirelli shot Virgin Mobile Yamaha team with a bit of a repair bill already as we get to Goddard's. We're on lap 6 of the 18 already. It is Olivia that crosses the line now, followed by Ryuichi Chianari, who is bridging the gap between leader Olivia and his teammate Haslam in 3rd place. And it's Shaky Byrne. Well, I am so happy to see. In fact, it is Shaky Byrne.
No, it is. Yeah, there's a real conflict of fortunes going on here after qualifying, because Johnny Ray, who was looking so good in qualifying, right up to the point of final qualifying yesterday that denoted the grid, and you and I were speculating that we thought Johnny Ray would be front row. He was looking so good, and the best he can manage at the moment is 12th. And Shaky Byrne, who qualified 9th, Johnny Ray, of course, finishing 5th place on the grid. Shaky Byrne, who qualified 9th, is now, well, he was up to 4th, I would say he's just back up to 4th now, so yeah, Shaky, complete role reversal.
Shane Byrne is playing catch-up in the confidence stakes, though. It's a new motorcycle to him this year. He's hardly done any testing whatsoever. They got all their tuning parts very, very late at Rizza Suzuki. And I think that Shane Byrne, he can ride a motorcycle, there's no doubt about that. And I think, yes, we do have a new lap record, 31.5. It used to be 31.7. Ryuichi Chianari, 31.5 on his march forward to try and chase down the Spaniard. So there is Gregorio Olivia, the defending champion, and right closing in on him at the Melbourne Loop is the spectacular Ryuichi Chianari. Well, whatever their problems during setup.
Pole position lap time also, I think, on a race tyre.
Yeah, that is true. James Towson noticed straight away, in fact incredulously, because it's nothing more annoying than seeing it being done on a race tyre when you get nice sticky qualifiers to do it.
Well, Donnington Park has always been renowned for being good for Michelin runners. It has always been, but last year was proven wrong when the 2 Airways Ducatis were dominant here on the Dunlops, and obviously Michelin have come here now and found something for the HM Plant Ducati, and I think he will just cut into Gregorio's lead here.
Well, if you go back a year or two before you, of course, James, you've been a youngster still, Dunlop used to rule here. This was the only place you could expect a Dunlop win in MotoGP or 500 Grand Prix as it was back then.
Oh yeah, Crayford and Stewart.
Indeed, you remember that? I mean, that was on,
just.
Yeah, well, I mean, oh, I can feel my ample nose being rubbed right in this.
You're looking at one Rizla Suzuki there. The question mark is, where's the other Rizla Suzuki? The answer to that is in 9th place. James Hayden seems to be having a bit of a nightmare out there, and quite surprising, really, given how confident James was that he could turn it around a bit. Qualifying, he was on the 2nd row of the grid, qualified in 8th, but he's down in 9th at the moment, and as we speak, he pops up there just behind Scott Smart.
Good to see Scott Smart. I mean, the Vivaldi boys have had a little bit of a problem during the course of this year as well. They've not really done enough work as far as this year is concerned. Setup is difficult. When you're chasing the setup, even the base setup, if you've not been doing much testing this year, it's a nightmare. The level at British Superbikes now is so high. The amount of work's involvement is so high. Well, looks like James Hickman to me. I was going to say Dave Hickman's son, James Hickman. It's his birthday, 20th birthday this weekend. The 20-year-old unceremoniously dumped. He would have saved it. If he'd gone for the berm, he'd have been all right.
I mean, Gregorio Olivia is setting lap record pace every lap ever since I've been looking at this screen with all the digits on that you've been talking about.
Of course, as a rider, you take no notice of this until you get it back in.
I'm into it now. I'm into it.
Now, can I bring your attention to the digits on the monitor above? The first sector time, that man, Gregorio Olivia, has just put the fastest first sector in of the race so far. Can he make it stick on sector 2 and sector 3? We have 3 sectors that complete this racetrack that are all timed. MST timing give us absolute pinpoint perfect timing here, and we will be able to see, as this man will, the Neil Tuxworth, His Eminence, team manager of HM Plant Honda. Oh, that will make him smile. Neil himself, of course, a pretty handy rider in his day, and he'll appreciate what this man can do.
Well, he's going to have to put them sectors in because Keogh's still closing in on Gregorio Olivia with the look of it.
No, he ain't. Just look at the lap sector times that Olivia's put in. He's just put in the 2 fastest sectors of the race.
I'm not having these digits. The way Keogh went into Foggy's S's, there's got to be catching him.
You do it by eye, I'll do it by MST timing. So then, we're into Goddard's, and this is where we get to find out whether Olivia is about to explode the new lap record. I think he is, because he's looked good on the 3rd sector as well. Yes, he does. 31.24. 31.24. Could we have a sub-31 lap here at Donnington Park this weekend? And in not ideal conditions. It is not warm out there.
And still, Keogh has broke the lap record as well as. So the first 2 riders are breaking that record every lap they go around.
Absolutely incredible. Gregorio Olivia then, confirmation of it, so I wasn't lying. 1 minute 31.243. That is a stunning lap. That is half a second quicker than the original lap record around this racetrack as per 12 laps ago.
Action further down the field. James Hayden's up into 8th now. Scott Smart's down into 11th, so it looks like Scott's had a bit of trouble on the Vivaldi bike and he's dropped down the order. But Johnny Ray, who was down in 13th a couple of laps ago, he's fought his way through. As you can see here, well, he's finding his way through certainly, and he's up into 9th place at the moment.
Just 18 years old, Johnny Ray, superb, but he needs to pull it down on the apex a bit and get the power back in if he's going to hang on to that hard fought 4th place. I wonder what part of his anatomy that Colin Wright has got hold of just there.
Even out without the digits, he looks faster.
Yeah, he does. Colin Wright, team manager of the Airwaves UK. We've got a brief look at Shane Byrne under a lot of pressure now from Michael Laverty in your picture there. Richard Suzuki versus Stobart Honda. Oh, Hayden's down. James Hayden down. You get that in triplicate from the commentary position here. We're all out of our chairs. James Hayden's out of his. Hayden on the floor. 1 Rizza Suzuki down. And I can tell you, number 1 is under observation for possible technical problem. Number 1, Gregorio Olivia, it's just come up on my monitor. Gregorio Olivia is under pressure. He is under pressure. Possible technical dilemma. I think he's got more of a dilemma with Chianari. So what is going on here? Let's take a look at the sector times again. Olivia is still...
He's put his hand up.
Yeah, he's putting his hand up, yeah, signalling there. There's nothing visible from our camera positions, but there's no smoke or anything.
Well, I can tell you now, if he's under observation, that means that our monitor isn't picking...
Say before?
Sorry?
Were they having clutch problems this morning, did you say before?
They had problems with, yeah, but I don't think anybody from the trackside is actually going to spot that because the under observation part has come from the race direction here. The MCRCB race director is Stuart Higgs, and Stuart Higgs has had a report up into race direction to say that maybe number 1 has something that's visible. Oh! That was visible.
That's something's coming out of Olivia's bike, and Keogh nearly crashed on it for sure.
Yeah. Well, if that's, we could see a flag out for Olivia if that's the case. Let's have a look and see how Olivia's performed. That's it. He's got his hand up. Olivia's got his hand up.
Oh, somebody's off on the oil.
Red flag. We've got a red flag. That's why red flag. So Gregorio Olivia, thankfully, saw that before we did. We've got a few spots of rain on our monitor there. I noticed as well. So a red flag. Who's it down? Oh, we've got a Byrne up. In fact, that is Shane Byrne. That is Shane Byrne.
That's at the same corner where Keogh had his big moment.
Oh, I tell you what, that's an expensive day out, isn't it?
Sorry, I heard the scrapes. I thought it was Keogh, but it wasn't.
Neil McKenzie there, the now operations manager of Rizza Suzuki, of course, my partner last year in commentary. And if he's listening to our commentary, he'll think, what a bunch of jokers.
Johnny's gone down as well.
That's clear. Shakey's back up on his feet, I think, if we can get our very, very good marshals here at Donnington out of the way. I think that's winded him. Yeah, he's winded himself.
There. Just come out of the hairpin. And what is it? It's Swans curve, isn't it?
Swans curve around the left-hander, yeah, and then it goes into McLean's. So Shane Byrne, let's take another look at this. Oh, this is going to be. Oh, it's Hayden. So that was slippery on the outside there, you know.
It's obviously been starting to rain.
Yeah.
But all these guys hopefully will keep their positions if it's taken from the lap before. So.
Unless you're the cause of the stoppage, which you weren't because it's a red flag for climatic conditions. So Byrne will still be in the result. I checked this out last time because if you remember in my commentary at the beginning of the year, tell you what.
That's not going anywhere, is it?
Well, I think I'll make a nice coffee table when they manage to beat out the dents. Confirmation of the result then. It is a result now, I can tell you. Gregorio Olivia gets his second win out of 3 this year so far. Ryoichi Kiyanari, well, he must rue that big slide. He could have been on top of Olivia if it hadn't been stopped. Haslam gets a fine third considering his injuries. Michael Laverty, slow starting, fast finishing in 4th place. Shane Byrne does get that 5th place despite the fact being down on the deck with a burnout. And Carl Harris, Michael Rutter and Jonathan Ray round out our top 8. Dean Thomas on the Hawk Kawasaki comes through in 9th place. Scott Smart gets a 10th place on the Vivaldi bike. Craig Coxall 11th. Ben Wilson, the other Vivaldi bike, there in 12th. The first of the Hydrex Hondas is Gary Mason in 13th. Billy McConnell, the 2nd place finisher at Brands Hatch, in 14th. And James Buckingham, the best of the privateers in the Superbike Cup, also gets a point in the main championship, with Dean Ellison just outside of the main point scorers. But this is race 2 proper. Gregorio Olivia is the man that's looking for it. Now, what about this man? He used to be known as the Rainmeister, of course. It is number 3, Michael Rutter on the Stobart Honda, and we wonder whether he can make a difference. I'm going to have a little bet on Leon Haslam. Injured he may be, but the rain he's not scared of, and we've seen him do some brilliant stuff on slippery surfaces before. We get underway then, down towards Redgate for the first time. Hopefully we won't have the same as we had in race 1, and that's somebody trip up in the middle of the field. Rutter goes into the lead. Nothing too shocking down. Through comes Arisa Suzuki into 2nd place. It looked to me as well. Would that be Byrne? We hold our breath as they go on. Look at this, no grip whatsoever. And through in the 2nd place definitely has gone the Arisa Suzuki bike. As back into 3rd place are the first of the HM Plant Hondas. And I'll tell you what, as we go, oh, that's an off for sure. James Toseland, he got nudged there, and down goes. Is he going to go down? It's a real long way down Craner. He's got to come to the track now. Will he be able to turn it, or is he going to crash into somebody? Oh, dear me, that is incredible. I still don't even know who it was. I think it was Hayden. I think it was James Hayden. I could hardly tell. Now, style-wise, it looked like James Hayden, and that was when he hit the dirt.
Yeah, Shaky's obviously not in the race with crashing on the warm-up lap, so James Hayden just went over the crest down Craner curves and then lost the front and just had to go straight on, and unfortunately for him it is a long way to the track again from there.
I love a polite correction. Of course Shaky didn't make it. And there he is,
there
Shaky.
He is, we know all the time.
They'll make me look an even bigger idiot than usual. Thank you very much for that. Shane Byrne then watching the race. Still leading though, no doubt about that. It is a number 3, it is a Michael Rutter, and Rutter really needs to have those 2 HM Plant Hondas behind him. Of course, they were his former employers. As up the inside comes Keogh, does he? No, he doesn't, as it turns out. Carl Harris holds on to it. Carl Harrison on bike number 9, number 2 is Keogh, and then behind them, it looked to me like, oh, that was a good drive. Where did he find that drive then?
I think Keogh looks really comfortable here. Rutter's obviously took an... Oh, he's coming under Rutter as well.
Kiyanari, well, do you remember Brands Hatch when the conditions were difficult? I don't know where he was finding the grip or what he had on, but the thing, he passed everybody on the opening lap, Tony.
Well, did 1, did 2 into Fogarty's, and then at the bottom of the loop he finished off that move. Kiyanari, the bike's fishtailing all over the place on the brakes, not like him. We don't see him doing that often, especially not in these conditions. And quite rightly, as you say, Keith, atrocious here right now. You can see the water standing there. And as we're sitting here in the commentary booth and the guys are blasting past us, you can hear the bike spinning, trying to hook up, but the HM Plant Honda's finding the drive way better than the Stobart bike.
Well, of course, it's about clearing water. It's also about tyre temperature, and that can be a... Oh, down he goes. Keogh's gone down. Well, he pushed it just a little bit too far. It's always smart for somebody to say that after he's dumped it in the dirt. He was majestic at Brands Hatch, and he's going to need a stretcher for depression here at Donnington Park, because off he limps. No damage at all, but Keogh is out. He goes under the Bennett's British Superbike banner, and he will be sick about that, especially with both the Airwave Ducatis out there. We can take another look at it from a different angle. He's sliding up the road. So many people at Redgate do that. Tyre temperature is a major issue when it's this wet, this cold and this windy, and Kiyanari has paid the price of pushing too hard, too fast. His confidence getting the better of him there. So it leaves Michael Rutter back in front, Carl Harris in 2nd place, then 91, it looks to me like Haslam. It is Leon Haslam going up the hill towards Compass now.
Watch Leon Haslam. I've just been talking to Ron, his dad, and obviously he does a lot of miles around here with the race school, and he says there's absolutely no grip on the racing line. I've just been watching Leon there. He's actually about a foot wider than everybody going around this racetrack, and it seems to be working for him.
Scott Smart in 4th place, closing down on the top trio.
Do you know what? I had to look twice as he came out of that fog then. Scott Smart has absolutely blasted the Vivaldi Kawasaki right into the mix, and I am so impressed with Scott, because they have been, that's Vivaldi Suzuki nowadays, he's been struggling so much with testing and setup on this bike. And of course, they always say rain is a great leveler of performance. It means that you know, if your bike isn't at 100% on it, then riding and riding style will get you over the problems of the rain. And Scott Smart is showing that he can still ride a motorcycle, but that is a phenomenal performance there in 4th place. I'll tell you what, he's looking good for making better than that as well at the moment.
He's looking good, but I've got the impression that he and Leon Haslam may find a way past Carl Harris. Oh, someone's fallen off at Goddard, further down the field. That looks like
It's
James Hayden
again. Well, 2 in 2 laps.
Well, he's a trier, there is no doubt about that. So the Rizzler Suzuki's getting, well, they're going to be trying to use all their spares allocation in one weekend, I think, with the amount of damaged motorbikes they got here this weekend. Paul Denning will not be a happy team owner. Don't know where to carry on. We've got a great race going on here in awful conditions. And the other problem, of course, in wet conditions here, when you're sitting here looking at a monitor, our cameras tidy up what it looks like. You're sitting there in your armchair back at home. But of course, these have got rain on the visor, grease on the visor, and also white lines to watch out for. You've really got to be so careful of letting yourself run a little wide and touching the slippery stuff.
Yeah, you've got to be really careful. And just looking back there, Gregorio Olivia in 5th place. He's got off to a steady start. He's got a lot of experience there. He's steady away. He don't want to make any early mistakes. And he's just catching these leading 4 now. And he's doing a great job. Obviously, his experience is coming through.
Sean Emmett on the Ippon-sponsored bike race stringer tune motorcycle out there at the moment. Let's have a look at the... Well, that's really academic. That's Rutter, the leader.
Oh, Harris going up on the inside of Rutter. Sorry to get across you.
But he got good drive there last time. If you remember, he could drive under his teammate there as well. Maybe it's because he's big. Puts lots of squares off the back tyre or something. It digs in a bit tighter.
Well, it's certainly helps at the bottom of the loop.
That was brave there, because he actually went straight on there in the warm-up just before this race.
And Leon got past Michael as well, so Rutter demoted from 1st to 3rd in the space of 2 corners.
And all the time, Gregorio Olivia in 5th place closes it on the number 1 bike. So we have Michael Rutter, who has slipped back. Oh, dear me, Smarty there, both feet down. Well, suddenly he looked like he was about to launch himself right over the front wing of number 1, Gregorio Olivia. But it is Harris that leads from Haslam from Rutter. That's your top 3 at the moment. Then the skidding Scott Smart. Still in 4th, maybe, but I think, no, he is still in 4th place. This is going to be tricky down here.
2 big wobbles, 2 big moments for Carl Harris. You can really feel Leon Haslam breathing all over his neck.
Do you see the way the surface changes there, where it's a little bit drier on the line, but if you get a bit wide of it, you've got to clear a load more water. Olivia Smart.
No, Leon's looking really good. He's taking slightly different lines here and there. I think it's maybe where a bit of track knowledge is, specialist track knowledge is coming in. You watch him at McLean as he comes up. He's over onto the inside line. He's taking a slightly different line to everybody else, but
so
of course there's more water there.
You're quite happy to be paying me in a little while then, are you? Oh, down goes Carl Harris. That front tucked under so long, you could have done a calendar with it. Unbelievable. The front was under him for such a long time. You could have... Oh.
It was just slightly wide into McLean's there going in. You could see him trying to pick it up on his knee, but it just wouldn't come back for it. Slightly wide there, just off the line, as you said, and there it goes.
So, Carl Harris again is down on the floor, but thankfully with no injury. We can see that from another angle. Look how long he held it on his knees. A big lad, Carl, and really that's gifted it to Leon Haslam so far. So Leon Haslam now leads after the demise. His teammate is closing in on 4th place, and he's got Rutter, Pike 3, and then 88 Scott Smart and the Vivaldi Suzuki just in front of him, and I would expect them. He's got so long to do it. That's the thing. Gregorio Olivia is like a ticking clock.
Well, everybody's doing him a favour at the moment, aren't they?
But I'm sure that that's part of his calculation.
Well, he obviously started off there steadily. And,
hang on.
Well, took with his
That is a great shot.
There's nothing for else for him to watch, so he's having 5 minutes.
He's pulled that old tartan rug over his knees, and he's decided he'll go back to his Rover a bit later on a drive home.
There goes Leon just on the outside now with Scott Smart. If he can hold that round there, he's going to be brave.
I was going to say,
Smarty's going to happen there.
Smarty's going to go underneath Rutter, so Smarty goes underneath Rutter. Well,
Leon just held his hand out over the start and finish there, as though what are we doing? Let's red flag it for some reason. But I mean, obviously everybody's going down. It's really dangerous. I don't think he wants the race to carry on.
Well, we're on lap 5 of 15. I can't see that the conditions are any worse than when they actually started, and that will be the criteria that Stuart Higgs, the race director, will be working to. We'll wait and see. At the end of the day, tyre-wise is always a bit of a snag as well. It's interesting to see that the Michelin boys have, well, both been off with front ends that have let go from under them. So maybe the Michelins aren't working quite as good as the Dunlop wets. We're at McLean's now. Scott Smart is being hunted down by number 1, Gregorio Olivia, but still off the front is Olivia's teammate as we come up to Coppice.
Scott Smart through the middle of the coppice there, just absolutely fantastic. Finds some drive from somewhere, really comes out in the corner well. Can't quite match the Airways Ducatis on power, but he's going to make it stick into Fogarty's. Looks up the inside of Leon Haslam, hard on the brakes, bike's not fishtailing, solid into there. Great move, Scott Smart takes the lead.
Smarty on the Vivaldi, Suzuki then goes out front, so it is Scott Smart the leads here, and it's been a long time since we've been able to say something like that. Smarty out front, we're at the Melbourne Loop now. Can he hold off the Airways Ducatis, because they're all building up behind him, but it's a Hawk Kawasaki that's homing in on them all at the moment, and that's Craig Coxall. Craig Coxall is having the ride of his life, back in what, 6th place at the minute. So Craig Coxall, James Tosen was pointing at him for me a moment ago, because you know I'm a bit dodgery now and again. I have to keep a bit of a closer look, get these youngsters in the box here to just keep us honest. Coxall's closing in as he did at Brands Hatch as well. Take another look at this manoeuvre from Scott Smart. Superb stuff, James.
Yeah, he just went down the inside. Brave move, really. It was off the line, as you can see, but he's obviously got a great setup in these wet conditions to come from whatever it is, 16th or whatever on the grid, and is now leading the race. Is incredible for him. So
11th on the grid, so third row, 11th on the grid.
Sorry, Scott.
Pretty good start, no problem at all. I think he'd have been happy for us to keep it at 16th, because it makes his achievement look even bigger. And you know what, Scott, he's not slow on ego, is he? So we come down the hill then towards the old hairpin, and why not when you're this good? When you're riding against these guys, they've had tremendous... I spoke to Ben Wilson's dad earlier on in the day and said, what's going on in Vivaldi, Suzuki? And he said, well, we're just, you know, we're obviously a little bit behind the game at the moment, but everyone's trying and working so hard at the minute. But as soon as we get the old rain in, which is a great leveler of performance, and sometimes a motorcycle that's not quite... Oh, down he goes! Dear me, Craig Coxall, the Australian.
Once again.
He's having a great season here in the UK. And you've got to say, Craig Coxall was riding the wheels off that Hawk Kawasaki. I think they're doing more with Hawk Kawasaki through this young man than they might have expected to do. But the penalty really doesn't fit the crime when it's this wet, and that was, he was asking for the power. Round it came. Oh, Scott Smart, well, we're joking, there's no joke out on the track. Scott Smart, he might have lost the momentum now. Gregorio Olivia, what did you say earlier, James, about he's waiting for everyone else to do the job? But Scott Smart back at him. Scott Smart, he's good on the brakes, he's brave on the front end. He's obviously got that motorcycle about how he wants it. It's called Scott Smart, very technical in the way he sets the motorcycle up, really wants